What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about a film that I was really looking forward to watching. I knew virtually nothing about this going into it other than reading some people's reviews online, reading that it was this director's directorial debut, and I was really excited to jump in and see this one. And the movie I'm going to be talking about today is We're All Going to the World's Fair. Before we get started with the review, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and it lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always looking for new movies to watch, new material to put out for you all, and I really like understanding what you, the audience, want me to review. I have so much fun engaging with the people who watch my videos. It's great to see the same people commenting on my videos and engaging with me and talking about, how they feel about the film or interpretations of material. And it's really great for me because whenever I read other people's views or interpretations of material, it always opens my mind up to new ways to perceive media and to watch film and how I interpret it. So it's really great, and it's my favorite part of the channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go for it. And if you could like the video, helps me out a lot. We're All Going to the World's Fair is directed by Jane Schoenbrun. Reality and fantasy begin to blur when teenager Casey, alone in her attic bedroom, immerses herself in a role-playing horror game online. Like I said, I was really looking forward to seeing this movie, and I know this is Jane's directorial debut. They hadn't made anything in the past, and I watched the trailer for it and thought that it was a really fascinating and unique concept, and I'm always really impressed to watch filmmakers' directorial debuts, and I am happy to say this is a really impressive directorial debut. And although not everything in this film works for me 100%, I am really looking forward to whatever Jane makes next, because I think they did a really phenomenal job at conveying what they wanted to, and there's so much you can pull from this very unique premise as far as the thematic elements of the movie. I just think some of the pacing doesn't work for me, and there's elements to the film where I really want to go back and watch it again because I feel like there's even more that I as the viewer can pull out of it with the repeat viewings. But yeah, I'm going to get into talking about it a little bit. So you have our lead character Casey, played by Anna Cobb, and she is phenomenal in this film. She does an amazing job, really gives an incredibly dedicated performance, and she is essentially who we follow the entire film. It's just her. There's one other character that appears in the film, and then you have these videos that she's watching in her room. So you see these people in like the YouTube videos that she's watching, but it's really solely focused on her. And what I really like about the storytelling of this film is she lives at home with her dad, who her dad is clearly not a good person. He's very emotionally abusive, seemingly, and aggressive. And you get that through just the dialogue heard from off screen and just like the yelling upstairs and just the way that their interactions are. And I like that character development because it builds this world without being overly ham-fisted expositionally, and I'm always appreciative of that type of storytelling. Casey goes online, and there's this thing where it's never like overtly explain too much, but there's this online challenge, which in the world of like creepypasta and horror Reddit and all these things that go on, there's this challenge called the World's Fair Challenge, where you go online and you say, I want to go to the World's Fair, into your laptop screen, and then you cut your finger, and like at one point it's shown through this like filmmaker's interpretation of it where they like put the blood on the laptop screen. Apparently, after you do this challenge, weird shit is supposed to start happening to you, and your life is supposed to change for the worse. And obviously people that are horror obsessives, such as myself, might be crazy enough to do something like this just to see if it's real. And so Casey has a YouTube channel, seemingly, and she's trying to, build subscribers and keep content up. And so she does this thing and keeps video recording herself to see if there's any really drastic changes in her life. And throughout the film, you get her own personal experiences through this situation, and you also get her watching other people's YouTube videos and what's happened to them. And then there's this person introduced whose name is JLB, who gets introduced, and his character starts talking to her directly through messages on Skype, and they're like back and forth about it. He's like asking her if she's serious about this situation and what she wants to do, and he's like overly protective of her and the relationship between those two people. He's like a really older man. She's clearly like a teenager. And so it's really interesting to see that dynamic and how it plays out. The strongest suit of this film for me is the performances. Like I said, I think Anna Cobb's performance is phenomenal. She does such a great job. And what's really unique about this film is the amount of just quiet moments with a character alone in a room. And there isn't that like tropey horror music throughout this film that's over the top. It's actually really beautifully scored by Alex G. And there's like this just like ambiance that's created that just makes you so immersed in this world and what you're watching. Getting into the psyche of our character, who clearly already feels really isolated and alone in the situation that they're in, and just wanting to reach out for human connection. And I think all of us in this world where we're so technologically connected and it's so easy to get a hold of other people, but yet we all feel so alone so frequent and so often, that it was unique to see it painted in such a realistic portrait where you have this character who clearly is suffering that loneliness and isolation and probably depression and anxiety, and seeking out other people with common interests to try to build something. And I thought that was really great. And I think it also has a really good commentary about being a content creator on the internet, how difficult it is to constantly be looking at how many people are watching your videos, how many subscribers do you have, can I make this a career, am I just doing it for fun? When you have the whole world in your fingertips, the whole world in your hand, as Bo Burnham would say, you can see or engage in whatever you want. And I think that was really the brilliance of this film, is like seeing it from one person's perspective, and a person who just wants that human connection, wants to relate to people around them and share in common interests. It's difficult sometimes, even for myself, when, you know, there's certain music I like or movies I like and I want to share that with other people, and you pour that out and you're like, hey, I just want to talk about this for hours and hours, and you don't find people that share that interest with you, and then you pour yourself into the internet to find people that have those common interests. And I just thought that was a really brilliant element of this film as well. I think the cinematography is really good for the most part. It has a very like rough around the edges feel, which makes sense for the type of film that it is. Obviously, I'm sure it didn't have a super high budget, being that this was Jane's first feature film, but it really was impactful. And the more I've thought about it, the more I appreciate it even more. And I think on repeat visits, I'm going to like it even more than I did on my initial watch. But this is just my glowing recommendation to go see it. Such a unique and interesting experience that's very different from anything I've watched recently. And like I said, I had a couple problems with it, mostly just being the pacing, but that could have just been me. I feel like there is intentionality to each scene, and I think that there's a real reason for why this exists the way that it does. And on repeat visits, I could be more immersed in that world. But I do think you should definitely check out We're All Going to the World's Fair. So have you seen We're All Going to the World's Fair yet? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was a really great directorial debut, and despite a couple issues I had with it, I think that it's still totally worth your time to check out. As always, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.